You want a little less light?
Look at that, wow.
Is that better?
That's better.
Okay. Now, first thing I want to talk about, I want to give a little history. I have had for 40 years a photography business. It's called stock photography, where you get a collection and then you work with publishers. So I work with religious magazines and books, especially religion books I have over the years. Now, it's been a business, and in the good years, there were a lot of good years, typically we bring in 50,000 for the Crosiers. Now it's dying away because the companies are taking over, like everything else. But anyway, for 40 years. Okay, so I want to tell a little bit of that story. How did I get into that? Well, it starts, this is a picture of this place a couple of years after I first came. I came here as a child, 9th grade, from Mora. Yeah, and the first year I was here, they built the church. That was fun to see going up. Yeah. So, I come here, I plug in, and there was a photo, it wasn't a club. There were 3 guys that ran the Photoshop here in the school, took pictures for the, for the students, for the faculty. Crosier used to publish a magazine. The Crosier Missionary was called at the beginning, and then Today's Family. We had to give up on that. But anyway, so I first learned on a press camera. So carrying around something like that with 4x5 negatives, that's what I first learned on. And in the dark room, then we finally got 35 millimeter, we got advanced. Yeah, so that was fun, and I did that during high school. And during college, I enjoyed working in the darkroom. I enjoyed taking pictures of people and so on. Okay, then after 6 years here, I joined the Crosiers. Why? Well, they seemed to have fun. I wanted to be a teacher and a priest. So I plugged into the Crosiers. Johnny Fleischhacker is in my class. We've been together all these years. And then I went through, 6 years of training and was ordained a priest. Yeah, that's been nice. I didn't look that gray at that time. But anyway, so I'm a priest. Okay, first year I worked in teaching up in New York at Archbishop Stepanak High School. That was a hard experience. Well, anyway, I taught for a year. I worked with the vocation department, our vocation department for a couple of years, and then Vatican II happened. So, remember the first thing that came out from Vatican II? What was the first decree? The liturgy. And the bishops thought, well, that's an innocuous thing to touch. It's not going to make a big difference. We'll straighten out a few rubrics. They went and changed the language and all this. So it really made quite a commotion. Anyway, so I studied there for 2 years, liturgy. Because, they said in the first meeting of the council, you should have a teacher that taught liturgy. So they sent me off to Rome. And I studied there for 2 years with the Benedictines, actually, that had a liturgical school. Now, later on, also, I went back to visit Rome sometimes. And in Rome, I took a lot of pictures. One of the pictures I took, this is a portrait in San Giorgio, our monastery there. This is a portrait of John Henry Cardinal Newman. It's a original portrait because it was his church. It was Church of St. George. He was British. So we had his portrait. So I took a picture of that. Later on, I'm teaching and so on, and I think of my pictures from Rome, and I picked 20 that I thought were beautiful, sent them off to a Catholic magazine, I forget what it was called, and lo and behold, they had an article about John Henry Cardinal Newman, so they bought a picture. Oh, you can sell pictures. You can make money. You can get your stuff out there. So I went to a couple workshops about how you do this. And this was a book that you could buy, Photographer's Market. They talked about the companies, the publishers, what they wanted, what they're looking for. Lo and behold, Catholic publishers were looking for current pictures of teenagers, because in the religion books and so on, they want a current picture. And lo and behold, I'm here teaching. So I've got an endless supply
Of teenagers.
So, you know, I would get a hold of their list of what they were looking for and send them stuff. So this gets going. Teenager visiting someone in a nursing home. Black, white. I monkeyed around with some other stuff too.
That's pretty neat. Wow.
Well, it's just a double exposure. I'm working with the publishers, and then they say, well, you're a priest. What do you have that's religious? Now, at the same time, along the way, I love stained glass. I think it's beautiful. I think it speaks of God when it's well done. So I look at this not just as a business, but I've looked at it always as a ministry, a way to preach the word. So that's part of what I've always been thinking. Like with some publishers, if they're hard out, I didn't charge as much as you could, you know, and so on. So, stained glass, and I've been running around, I'm photographing stained glass on slides in those days, of course. And there's just a lot of glorious stuff out there that I had collected together, and it kept growing. So, Adam and Eve. Now I have 200, but you know, at first I would have 4 or 5. But they might use it. Now, along the way, I learned how to do this because when you're photographing stained glass, you need a heavy tripod. In those days, you needed a heavy tripod. So this thing actually traveled all around Europe with me and all around the United States, and it's heavy. I'm dragging that around. You also learn you need a long lens, you know, because it's way up there often. And cable release and so on, because it's very fussy. So I learned how to do it. And then eventually, of course, things went digital. Now, when we got to the digital age, then I said, how are we going to market this? So I made CDs with pictures, and I made thumbnail printouts. There's programs that can help you do that. And I would send a set like that to religious publishers. It's a heck of a lot of work. Mm-hmm. But they loved it because they could page through, they could take their pictures. So that's how things really got going into the $50,000 range. A lot of things were used.
What year was that you started that?
That I started at OG. Let me see. This says 2001 on the back of one, I think.
Okay.
So we got going into digital. Nowadays, all that can be on that.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Now that other set, cost $500. This costs 60, and it's everything. So that's the ministry business. Any questions about that part? Okay. Yes.
What year did you come to Onamia as a high
49.
school freshman? 49.
Child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't tear your heart apart when you couldn't get color film anymore?
Well, I had been using, of course, light film. Velvia, that was beautiful. It had such vivid colors.
Yes.
Well, you can still get it. Yeah. Now, it took a long time for the digital to get pretty good. And now it's quite good. Close to film. And of course, Photoshop helps you liven things up.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now, this other part, this I'm going to run through kind of fast, but I've had people say to me, and Crosier say to me, what are your favorites out of the 23,000 you have?
Wow.
I like all kinds of things, but I put together a kind of little tour. Maybe the favorite for everybody in the world. Chart.
Well, I thought it was Notre Dame, but you said it
No,
was
this is
Okay.
Chart. No, this is Chart about 80 miles.
I
outside.
was there, but I forget all of it now.
Chart has the biggest collection of old stained glass in the world.
Look at that.
Where is that, Doug?
This is all
France.
Chart.
France? Yeah.
Yes,
That's
this is all Chart. I wish you could see more detail. And marvelous, the stuff they did.
Yeah.
The Madonna, we have the Old Testament. That's glorious, you know?
The top looks like a kaleidoscope.
yeah.
So, Father, can you do like a stained glass 101? What is it? How's it made? Are you familiar with that part of it?
No, not that much.
Because I have often wondered, it's got to be more than just colored glass to end up,
Oh, it's a real art
Yeah.
to figure out, well, the recipe, for instance, for the glass. Now, stained glass died out during the Renaissance because they went for painting and they lost the recipes, so they had to reinvent them. Yeah, expensive glass, has pieces of colors, and then they paint detail, and then rebake it. There's lots of multiple bakings for some.
Now, is that top one, was that the 7 gifts of the Holy Spirit in the circles up there? Can you see it? I think some of those.
No, it could be, Yes, we have the Spirit in there. Jesus is in the middle. Yeah, I wish we could enlarge it. This is, we're getting into a detail. And this is in the 1200s.
Wow.
So this is 800 years old. This is short. Crucifixion.
Wow.
Carrying of the cross. 3 kings. This is the most famous window there, the Blue Madonna. And the blues are just marvelous. Wait, I wanted to. It's just glorious. After 800 years. Yeah.
It hasn't faded.
Yeah, the blue is amazing.
Yeah. Christmas. Okay. Now we're gonna go 80 miles east. Clermont in France. We're still in France. Okay. Now, France had a lot of old stuff. But in this particular place, they had an explosion. I forget why. A huge explosion one side of the church, and they lost all the windows. So they had to put in modern. And I love these. I just think this is glorious. What would that be? What's it represent?
Sunrise, sunset.
Creation,
Yeah.
darkness,
Dark.
light.
Oh, yes.
Isn't that marvelous?
Yes.
That's a creation window. Now here you have the creation of the sun, moon. Here we've got the sea, the fish. Here we got the animals. Now this is 100 feet high. Isn't that marvelous?
Oh my goodness. 150 feet.
I just love this artist stuff.
Wow.
Now we have, this is next to the creation. Here we get Adam and Eve, and of course, here we got Eve reaching for the apple. The women screwing up the human race.
Captured forever in the same.
Whoa!
Kicked out of paradise. Now, this is another set of windows there. Anyone want to take a guess?
Revelations.
Revelations.
Yeah.
What have we got? The whore of Babylon.
That's right.
That represents Rome, in the book of Revelation. The 7 hills of Rome. And she's partying. Evil. Yeah, on the 7-headed dragon.
Yeah.
Isn't that marvelous? I think that's just.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Now that's the heavenly Jerusalem, with the angel and the gates facing, 3 each way.
Interesting that they would choose red wings for the angel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's different artists around the world that I love. That's one of the Mary windows there, with prophets around. Now, often you have Jesse at the bottom, a Jesse tree. From the root of Jesse, a shoot will sprout. And they love that in the church because Jesus came from the shoot of Jesse. Now this is an old window in that same church. So they did have old stuff on the one side, but on the other side, that other stuff that I think is great. Okay, now we're jumping to Germany. This is Worms Cathedral. This is a big one, Romanesque,
Okay.
heavy. So you see it's heavier. So they didn't have much space. But this is in Worms. Now, Germany. Now, the Allies didn't bomb the hell out of Cologne Cathedral, but practically everything else in Germany. So there is no old glass by and large. So this is all, Worms had to be all modern because everything was blowing out. Yeah.
We were in Germany and went to a church, and I can't remember which one it was, but during World War II, they took all of the stained glass
They took
windows
it out?
and they buried them in a salt mine.
Oh,
And after the war, they brought them back.
okay.
And I can't remember, I've got the name of the church at home.
Now, Canterbury, they did quite a bit of that,
Okay.
hiding glass away. Now, England doesn't have much old stuff because Cromwell knocked it all out. The Puritans. And yeah, but this is another artist in Germany. I think the German stuff is a little heavier in how it looks. But that's poor Job, you know, with his three buddies that are really stinkers. Moses. Artists like the Ark. Noah and the Ark, all kinds of Noah and the Arks around. People enjoy it. Yeah, the golden calf. Now, I think the German stuff often was a little heavier because they were depressed after what they went through. Yeah, David and Saul. Remember Saul got angry at David, wanted to kill him. And then, of course, David and Bathsheba killing off Uriah. So I think this German stuff was a little heavier, some of it. Now we're jumping to the Netherlands, to Holland. Now, actually, it is that crooked. Because a lot of Holland, you know, is the ground is wet.
Yeah, God created the world, but the Dutchman made Holland.
But anyway, that's one of the churches in Delft. Now, I love this guy, Duke Nicholas. And there is some of his stuff in our country, like down in Winona, there's some of it. I love his take on things. This is Christmas, of course. Like the shepherds, you know, Mary the angel, the star. I think he does neat stuff. Baptism of Jesus. The children of Jesus. I just love his stuff. Now, he comes from 4 generations of glassmakers and artists. Duke Nicholas. In the temple, chasing out the money sellers. Sorting the world out. The fish catch, you know, throw away the bad, keep the good. Palm Sunday. I love the way he puts things together. What would this be? The Pharisee and the publican. Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
Okay, now we're jumping to England. Now in the north of England, one of the cities I love is Ely. And most people don't get there because it's up north. It's a I went there and I was just awestruck. A lot of churches over there have what they call the lantern in the middle of the nave crosses, the side aisles. You'll have something up there they call the lantern. This in Ely is just a beautiful one. Now, one thing about this though, remember I said they lost the recipes and all that stuff? Well, in the 1800s, Germany and England started getting interested and excited about stained glass again. So this is some stuff in the north of England that's good, that I like at least. And Jesus calling Peter, I think, yeah. The storm. Jesus standing on the shore. He's calling James and John. And the poor father is left with a boat. Transfiguration. It's another artist, I can't remember his name right at the moment. Peter walking on the water. This is the story of Palm Sunday. You'll find a man carrying a watering jar. Now that was a oddball sign because men didn't carry water jars. So it was a signal. Now we're in Canada, Cap de Madeleine, Quebec. And they built this kind of to represent teepee, some Indian influence. That was the part of the artist's mind.
Recently?
Oh no, it's been there. Oh no, I imagine, I don't know, 30 years. It's a huge pilgrimage site for Canadians.
Is it in Montreal, you said? Or
Quebec.
Quebec?
And I love the stuff that's there. It's by a Dutch priest. But I love the way he goes at things. That, of course, the Good Samaritan. Curing a blind man. Take up your bed and walk. Palm Sunday. Raising of Lazarus. I just think his work is neat. Partying. Who would that be? With a couple women. The prodigal son. He's having a high old time. This, of course, is when he comes back home. Okay, now we're jumping to Newark, New Jersey, the cathedral there. All the glass in the cathedral there is FX Zettler, a German company. A lot of the stuff you see around that's good in the Midwest is FX Zettler company. In Piers, a couple of the windows are his. That's Bernadette. These are all in, that's Teresa of Avila, the Curry of Ars. That's one of the rose windows here. And imagine all the pieces. Yeah. Now, I don't know what it is now. Not so long ago, it was about $1,000 a foot for stained glass.
How big is that?
Pardon?
How big is that?
How big is that? Oh my. That would be like, 60 feet from top to bottom. That's one of the wings. That's a close-up of one of the rose windows. Now, anyone been here? St. Michael, Minnesota, outside the cities. Now, they took off on not Gothic or anything like that. They took off on the Oriental domes and so on. And it has up there in all these high domes the apostles. So we got Andrew, we got Jude, and in the center of this all is Jesus. Now they have some windows too. Agony in the Garden, Christmas. This is a painting in one of the chapels I just thought was so interesting, the Madonna, but a different take. Now we're jumping to a little church in Kansas City. I threw this in. You have chunk glass. You know, a lot of the glass is thin, but you also have the chunk glass, which is thick. And so the design is simpler. Now, I forget what this is. Adam and Eve? I don't know. Baptism of Jesus. A lot depends in a church on the pastor and the building committee, whether they're creative. Ruth, Boaz representing marriage. Now we're in Topeka, Kansas. Now you see the window there? That's the inside of that.
Wow.
Now everybody goes nuts over Tiffany. You know Tiffany lamps sell for big bucks. Well, he also made stained glass. Now, Tiffany did a lot of experimenting. So, like these pieces at the bottom with the multiple colors, that's a piece that's been baked multiple times in different ground glass. He tried a lot of stuff. Baptism of Jesus. So you see how that shading that he baked in. That's kind of to let the children come, but it's also heaven, I guess. That's a pretty one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nicodemus by night. John, Apocalypse, Revelation. Okay, where's this?
St. Paul. St. Paul.
St. Paul Cathedral. Now, the back, of course, has the 12 apostles. Marvelous stuff. With the lamp. The Mary window with American martyrs. Now, if you've been there, you know, that's big. That's huge. Now, what I like, though, especially in St. Paul Cathedral, behind the altar, they call it the Shrine of the Nations. And a competitor of Tiffany, Lafarge, did these. And I love his work. That's St. Clair. She's always represented with the monstrance. There's a story that she made the bad guys go away with the monstrance. St. Columba for the Irish. Who would that be? The sun? Canticle of the Sun?
Oh, Francis?
Francis. I think that's marvelous. Gertrude. Mystic, German mystic. I love his work. Teresa Eklund.
The face is amazing.
Now, this is one of my more 4 years ago. Yeah, I stopped in Wisconsin, and this is a church. I can't even think of it now, but anyway, I met Noah and the Ark, animals. Artists love that. Honey-colored coat, David and Goliath. Peaceable kingdom, the lion and the lamb. Baptism of Jesus. Now, this window doesn't exist anymore, which is sad. When I was in the major seminary in Fort Wayne, the window to the east. Now, this is, at least 20 feet high. So the Old Testament, the Passover lamb, Moses, the dead Egyptian. So we watched that in the morning as the sun came up. Opposite on the other side was the end of time with the symbol of the evangelist, God on the throne, and the Lamb. That's a little tour of what we got.
You know, you were amazing. Thank you for your hard work and beautiful presentation.
Yes.
Any question? Yeah.
Well, you said the one window doesn't exist anymore.
These, we sold the place, they tore down the church.
Oh.
Don't we have the windows here though?
We have
Some of the pieces.
some of the pieces.
Yeah, because Danielle and I went through them to pick out some pieces for the altar of the dead that one year.
Yeah, but you don't have much, do you?
There's quite a few in a room by the gym, but it's not enough to make that.
Right. Yeah, pieces have gone somewhere
Yeah.
else.
I mean, they're big, they're heavy,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, this is chunk glass,
Yeah.
so it's thick.
It's thick and heavy,
Yeah.
like cement.
They tend not to use this in the northern climes because of our extreme temperatures.
All the swelling
Breaks
and
up.
contracting.
Yeah. Anything else? Yeah.
Do you know how they go about getting the faces to look so real in glass?
Well, they use ground glass to paint features. So, like in our church, he was a good artist. Before he died a few years ago. But at the end of his reign, he was very expensive. We could not have afforded those. But you look at the detail he painted in.
So what they did, took the ground glass and then
The
heated it up.
Yes, it goes in.
And
So it's part of it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't scrape off. Cheap windows are painted on and left that way.
okay.
Were your pictures that you shared with us, Father, slides? Did you take slides? The original photography?
Yes. For all the first years, it was slides, 35 millimeter Velvia. That's why you need the big heavy tripod now, because it's very slow. Nowadays, I can go without a tripod. Yeah,
Did you add to the lighting, or was the lighting natural?
light comes through. And when I go into churches and they say, should we turn on the lights? I say, no. The light's coming in.
If you could commission a stained glass window, do you have a theme or a saint or an idea in mind? If some millionaire came and said, I will buy you a stained glass window, what would you like to see
Oh
created?
my.
After looking at all of your beautiful windows.
I don't know. Oh, gee. I'd say, show me some artists, and I trust the artists. A theme? I don't know. No, I have favorite things. Thomas More is one of my favorite saints. Yeah.
How about Eve with a nice big apple?
Oh my. That's quite a thing when you decide, on what's going to be in a space. Because people are going to be stuck with it for either it speaks to them or it doesn't of God.
I'm doing a lot of comparing. Brother Jim Lewandowski talked to us about icons.
Yeah.
And how that's a ministry also. And this ministry here is just, it makes me want to know more about the Bible. It makes me want to know more about history. Once you start looking at it and then getting curious. So I can see where it becomes a ministry. And I was just wondering, your impressions in Europe, did people appreciate what they have?
Some did. Like Chartres, everybody goes to Chartres to see it. No, often the people that live there don't.
Yeah. Or they, and less people are going to church.
Yeah, some of the churches have become museums.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, at the same time, in a lot of the great cathedrals, there are lots of visitors.
Right.
They aren't going to church, but they're visiting the churches.
Did you ever make it to Barcelona, to La Familia Sagrada?
No.
Okay.
No, didn't get there. No, we did a bit in Spain. Our time was limited, and everything was closed in the middle of the day, so you couldn't do anything then. Yeah. Now, I must say I love the Moorish art. That was marvelous.
The magazines that published your photographs, are they archived here, or
No.
you don't have that?
They used to send out, I had a stack of published pictures because they often sent you a sample. I threw them away. Why keep it? It's out there in somebody's library. Yeah. The biggest money maker is religion textbooks, because they use 1 million pictures for the teenagers.
Did you ever get into photographing any of the mosaics at all in churches? Or?
Not that much of Ravenna.
Okay.
No, not that much. You do find some in churches. I have some mosaics from modern churches.
Have you ever been to the cathedral in St. Louis, Missouri?
Yes, that's nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. I've never seen any mosaics quite like that and that large.
Yes. Yeah.
So What do you mean by mosaic? Where is it in the building?
In the back wall.
The whole ceiling.
Is just little tile?
Yes.
Really?
Little teeny tiles, and there's, I don't know how many millions of
Yeah.
them that they put in there, and that, if you're ever in St. Louis, you just
Yeah.
have to go see that. It's amazing.
3 generations of one family.
Yeah, 3 generations of one family to complete that.
Yeah, that's glorious. A lot of great church art.
It's, the cathedral, St. Paul Cathedral has some mosaic in that too.
Yeah. Anyway, God bless everyone.
Well, thank you.
Thank you again.